good evening. It is May 10th, and we're back on a Monday. The Armenian Council for Truth and Journalism. Like, share, subscribe, and deactivate. You know the drill. Dick Cheney. What do you say about Dick Cheney? When he left office, he had an approval rating of 13%. It's pretty fantastic stuff. He was responsible for lying to the American people about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He did everything he could to lead us over into that country so that hundreds of thousands of people could die for something. We're not really sure what. What we do know is that he lined his pockets during that time as he pushed Halliburton in with his over $10 million worth of stock, $250,000 a year in back pay, what essentially amounted to. He was really bad. He wasn't a good guy. He did more in his time to increase the power of the executive branch than anyone could have ever imagined. Dick Cheney is who is responsible for all of the abuses and for how we now ignore congressional approval so often. He's the guy that allowed the Obama administration to come in and issue all the executive orders they did. He's the one that's responsible. It was his policies, this neoconservatism, this American expansion into the Middle East. Why did he do it? Who's to say? Everyone likes to talk about globalists these days. Maybe that was what it was really about. I'm sure Lou will tell us it was the banks on some level. But now we find ourselves in this strange situation where the left is applauding his daughter. All of a sudden, she's their darling. The New York Times has come out and said that she's a truth teller and that she's fighting against the Republican Party. The New York Times. The same New York Times that told us that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Maybe they're not getting it right. And when it comes to Liz Cheney, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Let's convene the council.
Oh man, you brought back some. You kind of triggered me a little bit with the Dick Cheney talk, because he was my first conspiracy. Like when that election happened, I was like, what is this? And then people started talking about PNAC. I don't know if y'all remember PNAC, but not only did he make money off of the invasion, but he also predicted the invasion, and he also said that we needed that invasion to galvanize. We needed a Pearl Harbor-like event, which became, the 9/11, to galvanize our efforts towards Iraq. I mean, it's just like you can't make this shit up. Hey,
happy Monday, everybody.
Yeah, no, it is a Monday. No, just to kind of piggyback off of what Lou says and what Sean has been saying is literally like the legacy of the Cheneys is the legacy of the neoconservative movement. Long before globalism or globalists and other kind of internationalists, there were the neoconservatives. The neoconservatives are like this holy alliance between the old right and the conservatives that looked at one threat and one threat only, and that was the Soviet Union. And through that time, got drunk on the power of these international institutions and international consensus and international coalitions to bomb countries indiscriminately, to overthrow their governments, to install our puppets.
Oh, proxy wars, the advent of proxy wars.
Yeah, that is neoconservatism, and the greatest practitioner of that was Dick Cheney. From this, when he got to DC in the 60s, to when he finally, thank God, departed in 2009.
Yeah. I heard that what was the other Dick? Richard Nixon. So basically he came back and said, hey, there's no issues with Russia. This is going to be great. And it was supposedly Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld that was working in that office that released those deep throat tapes. That's the word.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Dick Cheney had been a player in Washington politics for a long time, and you're right. I mean, at being the chief author of like, we could find a way to like, snatch people up from, and throw them in other countries, or we could torture, whatever, and stuff like that. It's just like, but Mr. Vice President, is that legal? Make it legal.
He just sounds like a fucking Hoover fanboy, really, what it comes down to.
He probably was.
And so his lineage, Hoover fanboy.
In his lineage, Liz. No, Liz isn't the gay one, right? Liz is the actual straight one, right?
That's not even a concern when you look at what she does. I hadn't even thought about it. I forgot that we live in an era where we're supposed to judge everyone based off their sexuality. But
no, I mean, I'm just curious, right? Because here's the deal, right? He's this staunch conservative, right? But like, when it came to his daughter, like, I love her, right? And so, but Liz was, I guess, the Beau Biden of the family, right? And so, yeah, she was going to fulfill the lineage. She was already in Republican leadership. Like it was bestowed upon her because of it's like legacy for college.
Yeah. Well, didn't we talk about that? This is a recurring theme, everybody, and that really comes down to the barony. When I refer to the U.S. barony, I refer to pretty much the non-elected, elevated status of all these assholes' children who got handed their fucking keys and their crowns, i.e., Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bush. I mean, we can rattle on all these big Hollywood fucking politician names. The only reason why they even fucking are there in the first place is because of who they're related to. It has nothing to do with their fucking ability to lead or their ability to politic. It has everything to do with their ability to I was born in this family, so thanks, Dad, for the keys to the city.
And what was the thing that we fought against? We fought literally against this idea of monarchs just handing down their power and money to their prodigy. Like, we literally fought and built a system to stop that from ever happening.
Yo, we fought a nasty ass war against these dudes that we called the fucking redcoats to avoid this kind of bullshit. And yet somehow everybody's got their favorite race car driver politician. Why the fuck do you have a favorite politician? Ask yourself that in the mirror tonight before you go to bed. Look at yourself in the mirror and seriously and go, what politician do I fanboy over? And fucking why? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
With this whole thing, that's what cracks me up again. It's like I have to remind everybody what it was like in 2003. That was back when, I had more hair than I have now, and I don't remember if it was blue. But I wasn't particularly fond of Dick Cheney, and I'm surely not fond of his daughter. She's literally everything that's bad about the Republican Party.
Well, right. And here's the deal. She lost her leadership, and she's losing her leadership position, right? And come to find out, what was the UK Daily Mail that basically broke that story about like she was leaking stuff to the Washington Post?
It's all about that money.
Yeah, dude. Well, she's vying for that seat on The View, I guess.
Whose daughter is worse, McCain's daughter or Cheney's daughter?
Cheney's right now, because because Cheney's daughter has the power to initiate force, i.e., by virtue of appropriations to send us to another shitty fucking war. Meghan is just sitting on some terrible daytime television show, getting her ass handed to her every time, and slowly becoming less conservative as she's getting browbeaten by those harpies on The View.
Well, that's the thing, is with those people, it was never about true conservatism anyways. Nope. That's not what it was about with them. They were always part of the club. It's that one party rule. That's the attitude. It was always
no different from China.
Republicans, they had Democrats, but in the end, they were still pushing for the same thing. Whether it was the Council on Foreign Relations, the trilateralist movement. It all goes back to HW's New World Order.
Oh boy,
no, it wasn't his word, but it
was literally the internationalization of the American empire, because we had one threat and one threat only, and that was the Soviet Union. And then
you said that again. This is my moment. 1 second, I got to seize my moment. Our one and only fucking enemy in this country is our own goddamn fucking government. All right?
Yep.
If you want to be a true conservative, your government is your enemy. That's what true conservatism is. Less government, more individual rights and liberties.
And not gallivanting around the goddamn world trying to save everybody.
Be the world police. Correct.
And being the world police. That was antithetical to the old right of the time. And it became what the new right became because the threat was evident. Only in the last 10 years has it become evident to people who are conservative that maybe we should stop doing that.
Well, and then you could see the conservatives at that time drink the Kool-Aid. Another war. Yeah! 9/11. Yeah! Let's go to war. Like, look, okay, I'm a veteran, and you know what? Thank you for your support. That's cool and everything, but there comes a time when you got to admit and look, again, take yourself seriously for just a second and be like, yeah I drank that fucking Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I drank the shit out of that Kool-Aid.
I drank the shit out of that Kool-Aid.
It was like Epicac because I started vomiting right after it was done.
Right. After you realize what happened, and Travis has said it on the show too, when he realizes that he'd been had when he's there in Iraq, seeing where all these raw materials are being taken, or who's seizing the raw materials and where's it being shipped to.
Remember the pallet of money? Remember the big pallet of money?
Oh yeah, there was.
That was my favorite. 4 years into, we just dropped off some money. It was like, peace.
Sorry,
that's the way to government. But that's like, look, having worked for helping and supporting some of the clandestine services. That's kind of how it works.
Right. Yeah. Like, here's a pallet of money. Sorry, we blew the shit out of like 90% of your communities in like 48 hours.
We stirred up this sectarian, like, hornet's nest.
Yeah,
because freedom.
Hundreds of thousands of people died. I remember one of the first things, when I was still allowed on Facebook, one of the first things I got banned for was I would take pictures of Iraqi civilians that had been blown to bits. And I would say, congratulations, America, your tax dollars at work.
Which is essentially what it was. I mean, to be honest, and I want to make this very fucking clear. I want to make this very fucking clear to everybody. Okay, I'm not anti-veteran. I'm not anti anything of that like. However, I'm going to sit here and tell you exactly what it is, and it's the fact that my brothers and sisters sacrificed their lives for bullshit, just like Vietnam, just like Korea. Okay. So it's not a matter of not supporting the troops. It's a matter of realizing that our sacrifices were for fuck all. The Afghan papers told you that our sacrifices and our fights, our battles were for fucking nothing. Yeah. And that is a hard pill to swallow.
We knew a decade ago that this was a worthless endeavor. A decade ago.
Fury, can I throw a little fire on the on that log right there?
Yeah.
Or I guess a log on the fire.
Fire on the log.
You can shit right on my fucking campfire, Lou. Go ahead.
Do
the rolling brown out, Lou. Give it to me, baby.
So, what do you feel? How does it make you feel when all of a sudden, when we take over Afghanistan, all of a sudden we have an opiate epidemic in America?
Well, I think we all know that.
It's pretty goddamn convenient, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, no, and it was even more convenient that like all the weapons and all of the ordnance was being transferred over from Pakistan, who was supposed to be a standing U.S. ally and a NATO partner.
I never trusted the Pakistanis.
So Lou, to tell you how you doing, Lucy? To tell you exactly how I feel about all of it, I was sitting in a VA getting my blood work done. And I was sitting in line with about 8 fucking Vietnam War veterans. And I looked at him and he looked at me and I said, when does it feel all right? This don't feel right. And he was like, it never does. It'll never feel right. Because he understood what I was saying. I finally understood what the Vietnam veterans carried. Their sacrifices and the things that they did meant fuck all. They lost. They lost. And the Korean War veterans are kind of in the same boat. It was a quote unquote police action. It is a forgotten war. Afghanistan, if they have the nuts, if they have the intestinal fortitude to finally pull out our boys, that'll be another forgotten fucking war. That'll be another forgotten thing.
Yeah, and when you talk about Vietnam, that was yet another war, and they used it to get heroin over to this country so that they could pump it into black communities.
At the same time, they were doing the South American shit, doing with cocaine too. And
yeah, they make movies on that. There's movies on that, by the way.
Awkward when that plane crashed, and they had a lot of splaining to do. There,
but it's to me, it's not that you're anti-war. It's not that you're an anti-veteran at all, or you're anti-military. But you gotta at one point stand there and really digest what has actually happened and what have we gotten out of it. And what we've gotten is we've got a bunch of fucking West Point cadets. Sorry, West Point cadet in the back room. And other fucking top brass, that are badge hunting to get their experience so that they can elevate themselves politically further up the chain, which is basically what they fucking admitted in those Afghan war papers, was it was just a badge hunting fucking cesspool of bullshit. So all these Gold Star families out here, what are you going to say to them about their loved ones, or their loved ones that took their own lives because of that conflict? That conflict was completely unfucking necessary.
All brought to you by the Cheneys and the neoconservative ilk.
And
it could take over. I thought it could take over the Republican Party again.
And Joe Biden.
I'm sorry.
Biden, yeah, he's a neo. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Humans are unnecessary.
And it's the same old thing. It's like Thaddeus always likes to say with this culture war. People may see it as being real woke, but it's really just the same old crew, and they're curb stomping all of us. Which kind of leads into the next thing.
Let's do it.
The next thing. We'll just get into it. Ransomware.
Oh, man.
Wait, can I say one thing first? Cyber Polygon.
Boom. Oh, snap. May I?
Event 201, before the shit happens, this is before coronavirus, Event 201, Cyber Polygon is what he's about to start talking about. Good.
Yeah, no, we covered
Damn,
this.
Lou,
We covered this on Lou Starsky Plays Ball. I think
Lou is on it.
so let me go big here. So basically, Colonial Pipeline, headquartered in Alpharetta, Georgia. You're familiar with that, Lou, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the largest U.S. refined product pipeline system in the country. It moves 2.5 to 3 million barrels a day, of gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and stuff like that. So what had happened was somehow these fools managed to get their system ransomware. And what ransomware is they basically take over your system, encrypt your crap, and then send you an email like, "Hey, we put a metaphorical or a digital gun to your data. If you don't, pay us back, we're going to erase all your data." So normally, a lot of people just actually pay this stuff out. Actually, there's insurance premium. There's actually insurance policies some companies actually get for this stuff.
Yeah, based specifically for this scenario.
Yeah, for this. So this happened back in May 7th. And basically, they said, "Oh, shit," and just shut down the whole damn pipeline, all the control systems that moved stuff all around, everything. So this major artery, or jugular, as someone has actually kind of, called it or equated it to, of 5,500 miles of pipe and dendrils, and offshoots and stuff is shut down. It's been shut down since the 7th. They're not expected to get back up until at least the end of the week.
Dude, it really has to. It really has to suck to be the intern that downloaded a bunch of porn on a company computer. Man, do you look real stupid right now?
Oh man,
I got an idea that just kind of floated in my high head. With one of the vulnerabilities of the Cyber Polygon being these pipelines, do you think that there's any chance that they did this whole other pipeline and just kept it in the kept it in the ether for about 10 years just so that we would have a familiarity with what the fuck pipelines were? So when they said that the pipeline was about to burst, people would have an idea. Do you think that's how far?
I don't know. I think really you're overthinking it, man. I think the fact of the matter is, I think we just built very vulnerable systems that are now very susceptible to these cyber attacks. And here's the deal. This is on
Honda last year, Ford, a couple steel mills that I don't think I'm legally allowed to say exactly.
No, this happens. This happens in municipalities.
But this happened in tow. I don't know if anybody remembers some of these headlines, but a bunch of steel manufacturers, car manufacturers, got hacked and got shut down last year. It was pretty bad, actually.
You have the SolarWinds exploit right at the beginning of the year that had all of our government compromised systems. You also have the fact that like there was an Exchange server vulnerability that was basically taken advantage of, a Microsoft Exchange server vulnerability that's taken care of. This has been going on, kind of like what I say all the time to people and libertarians on the right that think that like they shouldn't really take this woke stuff seriously. You're in a culture war getting curb stomped and you don't even know it. We're in a cyber conflict of some kind, be it non-state actors or state actors, and we're getting our asses kicked.
Oh, and we're getting lied by the culprits. We're getting lied about who the culprits are. Okay,
well, think what their position is, though. They're conservatives, so by nature they want to be conservative. Sean, so
why? Well, just a question, just real quick.
But the society wants them to be tolerant of everything, but literally what they're saying is conservative. They want to keep it how it is, yet our society is forcing everybody to just be tolerant of whatever the fuck comes up next. So they're in a tough position. I feel for conservatives.
So Lou, if a Russian company designed all of the hardware and programming of a steel mill, let's just say it's steel mill. I'm not saying the one I work at, but if a company in Russia designed all of it, already had it, wrote all the code, what would they gain from something that they're already outmoded by hacking into that system? Just give me what would the Russians gain from hacking an old system?
Okay.
You're muted, Fad. You're muted. You're muted, Fad.
You're muted.
No, I think he's faking it because he's
faking
no,
it.
No, I'm sorry. I had to because there's a lot of background noise going on. There's a mariachi band up the street. It's crazy. So no, I
want to go to your house.
I think. We're getting close to graduation time.
I'm gonna order a mariachi band just to send it to your house like regularly every Thursday. Every Thursday, mariachi bands.
Yeah. No, I'm down with that. No, I oftentimes think we use too much of the Russians as a canard, right?
Right.
The Chinese are just as susceptible to this, and Dr. Baca is correct. The Israelis are also very good at that. We're also very good at this type of stuff, right?
They taught, but the thing is like the people that are still in control of all these mechanisms, they described a 3-power world order, right? And it was USA, Britain, and Russia. Or no, it was USA, Russia, and Germany. Germany, they decided to scrap Germany and they made China the new one. So now we got this 3-part. They described this 100 years ago, what they were going to do.
We're trying Milk Stout, Left Hand Brewing today, everybody. I'll let you know how it goes. Go ahead. Keep going, Lou.
No, the thing is like, y'all, like he said earlier, he was like, oh, and then Dick Cheney fell in love or got drunk off of what he could do. No, this shit has been planned. It's orchestrated. They're just following the fucking plan. That's it. They're all following the plan.
What about the banks, Lou?
Human beings don't have that type of fertility.
Rings around rings. It's been proven. Carol Quigley described how the shit works. There's like 5 people that are running this shit.
Lou. He's gonna say the banks.
No,
hold on, Fury. No, Lou.
It's the people that run the banks.
Lou.
He said it.
No, they run everything though. They run psychology.
We're almost there. I know you're frothing here. And I don't want to mess that up. We love you, Lou, and we're gonna unleash you here in a minute. We're gonna unleash you,
Lou, off the chain.
So I think we've kind of gone over everything that's happened with the ransomware. We have a few minutes left on the show. Israel's a mess right now. There was gas popping off in Aqsa mosque.
Oh boy,
this isn't good. You had Jewish nationalists trying to march as a celebration of Jerusalem Day, which was the 1967 war when they were able to, basically occupy old Jerusalem. And so they were trying to get in. The Israeli police wouldn't let them in. They're, at the same time, they're evicting people from Eastern Jerusalem. And it's assumed that they're going to let Jews move in there. So it's like all of a sudden after 8 years? Is it 8 years of not having rocket attacks or anything else? They're like, fuck it. Let's start another fight.
Who started? I guess the question is who.
Wait. Let me ask y'all this. Because we know that America and Israel and Saudi have been caught funding ISIS and whatever new one. So what if version 1 of that was Hamas? Because Hamas helped them get everything that they ever want, and they never get shit.
Actually, I've heard this theory before, where it was the Mossad that initially, and I don't think it was Hamas. I think it was Hezbollah. Yes, right? I think they wanted to fund Hezbollah because they needed. I don't know what it is and stuff like that. The thing going on right now, unfortunately, in Israel is, first of all, the rocket attacks never really stopped. Right. They've just been, they have a better defense mechanism against them, and things have been relatively peaceful, but that doesn't mean that there hasn't been a brutal occupation of the occupied territories for the last, God, how long has it been?
Did we prop up Pinochet? Did we prop up Saddam Hussein? Did we prop up the Shah in Iran?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Real quick, Lou. You see, the thing about Saddam is that Saddam's what was it? His uncle? His uncle was propped up by the Nazis. Saddam was groomed by his uncle and some Nazis to do what he did. And I hate to say this because I disagree with his treatment of the Kurds entirely, but Iran was scared of Saddam Hussein.
Right.
Once we destabilize that region, then there starts the old endless war cycle.
The dirty little secret about the Iraq war is we literally did Iran a favor,
right,
by choosing a side and taking out Sunni. And here's the deal. And with the fall of Saddam Hussein and the subsequent tamping down of the Sunni insurgency, basically we chose the Shiites. We chose Iran. And that made the Saudis pissed for 8 years, with good reasons. I've never trusted the Saudis either. I think they are the greatest funders of terrorism, 100%. Financiers of terrorism in the world.
100%. and they got chairs. They got chairs in the UN. Exactly.
I got a question.
We're humanitarians.
I got a question, because illegally they denied this for almost 30, 40 years, but eventually they had to admit this. But the CIA and the M16 or the MI6, whatever the fuck they are in British, they caused the revolution in Iran. So if Iran is now ran by those people that they've selected, why would they not take out their fucking enemy? I just don't understand how y'all aren't.
They are the worst
thing. But because it's. Oh, what's this?
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
That's Francis, everybody.
Fast as fuck, boy. Come get some.
Francis.
Yeah. How fast I am.
What a way to take a very deep and engaging conversation and be like, fuck it.
That's Jay's pup. That's Jay's pup, everybody.
He is fast as fuck.
For more intellectually stimulating conversations, tune in tomorrow night to another exciting edition of the ACTJ. Good night, everybody. Good night, Lou.